All right, perfect. And then I will be sharing my screen now. Okay, great. So once again, welcome. My name is Desi. I am going to be training about everything that has to do with PST Mobile today. If you have any questions, any like quick questions during the training, you may put it in the chat. I have Gabe, who's also a tech here at Dreamville Software. He will be answering you. Anything else, you can save it till the very end. I do open the floor at the very end for any questions that was not clear, that I can answer of things that I mentioned throughout the training. Like I said, this is mainly about how to use the mobile when you're out on the road, not so much about the clerical side of things. So that can, there's other trainings that I've done regarding what to do when the server updates the jobs and things like that, when it comes from PST Mobile. The first thing, though, that I will show is how to create that login. So if you are an agency, you use PST in your office and you need to create this server login so that they can actually access it in the app, I am going to show that how to do that. So let me go ahead and open up this. And I am going to show it on both the desktop version and the web PST version. So when I say desktop version, I am referring to this guy right here. If I'm saying web PST is the online version, which is webpst.com. Okay. So if you need to create a server login so that your process server can set up the account on the app and see their jobs, the first thing you're going to do is obviously add them as a server in your database. And then on the desktop, you're going to go to Setup, Servers, Add Edit Server. You're going to search for your process server. And then once you have them up, you're going to go down here to the Internet tab. And then this field right here where it says login name and password, that's where you're going to create that login name and password that your process server is going to need. The login name needs to be a minimum of 5 to 6 characters. Password is a minimum of 4. We do suggest that you make it a little bit longer just for security purposes. Be aware of your caps, be aware of like any symbols or anything like that. It is case sensitive. And then the last thing you want to do is check these 3 boxes. So this is what allows the server to, do comment updates, do service updates, do attachment updates. If your process server sets up the app and they say, hey, I can't add comments, I cannot add service information, I don't see where to do it, it's more than likely because these are not checked, okay? So it's very important that you check them as soon as you do the login name and password. And then that's pretty much it. You don't need to do anything else. You do not need to fill out anything here. We're just focusing on this. At that point, you will give your process server your DBS code. So whatever that 3-letter code is, the login name and the password so that they can set it up on their phone. And then if you use WebPSC, you're going to go to contacts. You're going to go to servers. You're going to go ahead and search for your server. We're going to edit that server, and then we're going to go to the connectivity tab. Right here, you can see the login name field, the password field, and once again, those 3 boxes. So it's the exact same thing, exact same setup, just different interface. So this is pretty much for those people who have PST and they use it in the office and stuff. So from here, now we're going to go into how all of this works in what's it called, in the mobile app. So I will be mirroring my phone. Okay, I just need someone to verbally tell me that you can see my phone screen.
Yes.
Anyone?
Yes, I can see it.
You guys see it?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, perfect. All right, great. So if you are an iPhone user, you're going to find the app on the App Store. If you are an Android user, you're going to go to the Google Play Store and you are going to search for the app there. So the app is called PST Mobile. So if you're going to search for it, just do PST Mobile. And there it is. It's the white one with a little PSD on the circle. And then you get to download that. So once you have it downloaded and you first open it up, it's actually gonna be like this. Right here is gonna tell you to add your account. So when you hit add account, you're gonna see login details. So this is why whenever you get those login names, you need a DBS code, username, and password. So I'm gonna set up my account here. I always suggest hitting the eyeball just to make sure that you are entering that password correct, since it is case sensitive. So that's why we have that there. Then you have your overlay settings here. So tag can be anything miscellaneous. A lot of process servers put their name there so that on the picture that they take, it shows pretty much the process server who took it. So I can go ahead and do that. And this is optional. It is not like required. Then you have tag location. So where in the picture do you want that tag? So you can do top left, top right, bottom left, bottom right. All of this is obviously optional. So I'm just gonna go with bottom right for myself. The GPS location. So the moment that you take a picture, where do you want that GPS location to be displayed on the photo? And then we have date and time location, and then address location. So I'm just gonna go and put them all on the bottom right so that's all in the same place. That's just my preference. And then as we go down here, we have the data warning settings. So you have action date, expire date, last day to serve, and then last day to subserve. Now, these dates are dependent upon whether the company uses them and they enter dates from that. So if you do same day, if there's an action day as of today, then you're gonna see kind of like that day display on the job list and it's gonna be in red because it's like, okay, the action is today, or it'll show red if it's past due type of thing. So let's do, just for our sample here, let's do 3 days. So if I do 3, that means that is going to warn me, and it's not like a notification. It is not a push notification. It's just a date warning that shows in red when it's that date that you set up. So if the action day is 3 days from today, because I set it up to 3, it's gonna color red. If it's longer, so like let's say I still have a week until the action day or the expiration day or whatever, then it's gonna be great. And I'll see, and you guys will see that. And then that's pretty much it. So then we're gonna hit save. And then right there, it's my account. If you get anything about authentication failed, then that means that the username and password that you entered is either incorrect or the username and password that you were given does not match the one that they set up in the office. So you wanna make sure that anything that you set up is correct. Now I can go back and then this is where I need to sync. So let's talk about what syncing is. So in order to sync right now, you see those little circle arrows up at the top. I'm just gonna hit that. And now it's going to load all of my jobs. So here you can see, now you can see how I talked about those dates. So the action date on that one job 78 is gray because it's more than 3 days out, but then the ones at the bottom, they're way past due. So that's why they're in red. So that's kind of how it works. Now, syncing. When you enter data into the app, you will need to sync in order for that data to go into the company's PST. You will also need to sync to retrieve any new jobs you may have. And the reason why we do that is because there is a lot of process servers that they serve in rural areas. So we don't want them, we want them to be able to enter data into the app. It'll be saved and then they can sync later on if needed to kind of send that data. If this was kind of like constantly syncing and stuff, then it could potentially prevent you from be able to send the data to, to the agency. So just that's how that syncing works. Now you have two options. If you go to the menu bar on the top left, you have sync all, which includes pictures, and you have quick sync, which exclude pictures. Some people do quick sync to exclude the picture just because their connection is not that strong, but they want to send kind of like an attempt information that they have and whatnot. But you can always wait and then just do the sync all. Now, if you do the little circle arrows up at the top, that is automatically a sync all. So you can just always hit that and it will just sync everything, whether there's pictures or not. All right, so now let's go into what our job list is. So this right here, what you're seeing, this is the job list. This is all the jobs that you would have under your name. Now, if this list gets longer than what you have in hand from a particular company, it is because the job is still open. So there could be a job in there that is very, very old. And even if you delete it, because there's a way to delete jobs here, when you sync, it will come back because it's still under your name and it's still open. So you do need to reach out to the company that job belongs to and let them know, hey, I still have this job on my list. It's still open. Why is it? I don't have it with me. It's closed, whatever the situation may be. But that's why it shows up. You can also, if you are a process server that serves for multiple companies, you can add multiple accounts here. So you would go the same to the menu bars, set up account, and you can add a second account. So that way you would have pretty much, you could potentially have up to like 7 accounts here. And then the way you kind of differentiate one job from another, it has to do with that 3-letter code. Every single company has a very unique 3-letter code. So that's how you differentiate. So in here on the job list, we have several options. So if we start from the top, we have a search bar. You can search for anything here. You can search by job number. You can search by the name of the party to be served, especially if you have a very long list and you want to narrow it down. So this is kind of like your quick search. You also have a barcode reader at the very top right-hand corner. So if you have field sheets, you can press that. It will open up and then you can scan the barcode on the field sheet. And I don't have a field sheet with me right now, but pretty much that's how it works. And you can just pull it up real quickly. Then at the bottom, you see job number, you see descending or ascending, and then you have a filter option. So if I hit on that job number, this is how I want to sort by my list. So do I want it by job number? Do I want it by party to be served? So if it's by party to be served, you'll see how it'll go in alphabetical order. And then I can do ascending or descending. You can do by case number. You can do by priority. So if it is a, standard will be your routine. And I don't know if I have any rushes here, which I don't, but then it will be like, it'll say rush or it'll say priority. So there's like different sections. You can do by action date or any of this, the expiration dates or any of those dates. So that is up to you. So let's keep mine by job number here. And like I said, you can do ascending or descending. Now on the very bottom right-hand corner, it says all. So if I go here, you can go either new jobs, jobs that are been modified. You have shotgun jobs or your classic jobs. And I will talk about the differences of both. Your jobs that are incomplete. or your jobs that are already completed. So if there's no jobs completed, then you have nothing on that list. So that's kind of how it goes. And you can see the word new. So because I just set up the account on the app, everything here it's considered new. And then the moment I go into a job and then back out of it, then that word goes away. So it's no longer considered new. So now let's go into adding service, adding attempt information, and all that good stuff. So the first thing I'm going to do is talk about the differences between classic job and shotgun job. You as a process server in the field, it really does not matter that much whether you have a classic job or a shotgun job on the phone. But I do want to point it out because they do look a little bit different. So if I go into a classic job, it kind of looks like this. You have your servee or party to be served. You have view, set service, the attempt, and then you have at servee. You have service details right there. You have comments, photo, and possible attachments that are probably viewable to you. Now, if you go into a shotgun job, there's not as many options. You only have view, attempt, and at servee. You have your party to be served status of military and married, but then the information where to add actually service info or anything like that, you actually have to hit view and go into another level. So that's where you see the service details. So that's the little bit of difference. And I would probably say that the biggest tell would be on your survey. So if you have the 3 options rather than 4, that's how kind of you know that you just need to go into it. On the agency's end, it's just a preference for them to use shotgun versus classic. So it's just more of a clerical preference and the flexibility that they get out of it. But I'm just saying it here so that if you're out in the field and you see, okay, why does this job look different than this one? Now you know why. So let's go with classic jobs first. I want to go into adding an attempt, adding a photo, doing some set service and all of that. So I'm going to go into my classic jobs and let's go into my job 77. So let's say you are a server out in the field. You went to this address and you have to add an attempt and a picture. The order that you do this is completely irrelevant. That is up to you. So let's go and add an attempt first. So the way that we add an attempt is by hitting that icon right there that says attempt. And then in here, it will automatically capture the GPS location of where you are. So if you are not in the place, if where you are right now, like it's not where you attempted service, you just updating this later, you can definitely take that geolocation by pressing the X on the what's it called? On the location icon. So it says clear location, say yes. And then that's how you clear it out. If you need to capture it, you can just hit that location button again, and then it'll capture the geolocation of where you are, and then it'll do the date and time stamp. If you need to change the date and time stamp, because when you do that, it's gonna put the current date and time. You just hit on that date and time field, and then right there, it'll pop up your calendar. At the bottom, you will see time, and then you can manually change it. You will also have some preset comments. So right there on the little bubble with the plus sign, if you hit that window, there's some preset comments in there. So you cannot add this. The office does this. They can add comments. They can take out comments from this list. So if there is something that you probably, would like to have that you would think is nice to have on this list, call the company that you work for and let them know. So these may not be the same for every single company, especially if you have multiple accounts in the app. So if you wonder why the list is different, it's because it is dependent upon the company that you're serving for. So then right there, you have your preset. It says attempted service at whatever given address. And then if you go there and let's say no one is home, no cars in driveway, whatever, you hit OK. That sets it there. If there's more that you need to add, you can just tap in that box and just start typing whatever it is. And then after that, you want to make sure that you hit save. And if you scroll down, you will see that comment attempt that you have added right there in the comments section. If we go and take a photo, you just click on add photo. You may select a photo from your gallery or your camera roll, whatever type of phone you have, or you can go ahead and take a picture. Now, the geolocation will only display in the photo if you take the photo with the app. So if I take that picture right now, use photo, right there at the bottom right-hand corner, you will see all of the information because that's where I told it from the beginning of where to put it. So we have the server's name, you have the geolocation, you have the address, and the date and time of when that picture was taken. And then you can do a description if you like. By default, it's gonna say picture, but if you wanna add more to it, you can. So then from there, you're just gonna hit save. And then if you scroll down, you will see your picture right there. Now, if the company has attachments that they made viewable to the server, so to you, you will see them right there under attachments. You can do, if they have service documents, you can hit view. And then that document will load. There's your documents for service. You can then hit download and then print them. So that's just kind of like how that works. And then now we are optimizing that soon where it's not going to require you to download it. I believe at the very bottom, we're going to have, so rather than have download by itself, there's also going to be a button that is going to be like, kind of like the export icon. And then if you hit it, it'll give you the ability to print it. So that way you don't have to download it and then print it after. And then if they have a picture, let's say of the person that you're serving, they can do that. And then you can just see the picture of the person that you're serving. You may add comments. So at the very, very bottom, you can add a comment. Now, the difference between an attempt and a comment, I would say the attempt is when you went to the property, and you actually attempted service. If you want to communicate something to the office, you can just simply do a comment, and then maybe you can just send them a note or something. So that way they can get that information in the app, but it had in their database, but it has nothing really to do with you going to the property and being like, hey, no one is here or whatever. Oops. So now that we've done that part, we did add an attempt, we added a picture. Make sure you always save your changes. And then when you save your changes, you will see a little dot right there. So what that dot means, it means that there is updates that have been made to this job, but you have not synced. So the data has not been sent to the company's database. So once I do my sync, that dot turns green. So you will have sometimes a bunch of dots. So it could be green, it could be red. Just make sure that pretty much if they're red, the company does not have the data. So if the company is calling you and be like, hey, I do not have updates for this.
I have a
Yes?
subpoena.
Huh?
Thank you for your record subpoena. Record.
I'm sorry, whoever is, can you mute yourself?
It's for
So if if you have dots that are red, that's how you know that the company didn't get the information. If the dot is green and the company's still saying, hey, I don't have this data, then you can definitely call support, call PST and let us know so that we can see what's going on, what happened. Just FYI. So now let's say that you went and you served Carissa individually, okay? So I know a lot of you probably who use the app, you just go into add attempt and then you just fill out served individually with the information, blah, 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 And if the company that you work for, if they want you to do it that way, then fine, great. However, the app was not designed to go that way. So if I serve Carissa individually, I'm going to hit that button that says set service on her. She's the one I gave the documents to. So when I hit set service on that, it's going to capture the geolocation right away. I'm gonna hit save. And then I'm gonna scroll down and put my date and time of service. So whatever that time is, you know, whether it was yesterday, whatever time it was, you know, you can change this. And then if the company has types of service enabled for you to pick from, then you can go ahead and do that. Otherwise, if it says there's nothing there, it's because the company that you work for have not enabled these. If you, as a company, and you're watching this training right now, if you don't know how to do this, contact support. We will tell you how to do this part. I am not going to go through it in this training because this is specifically about PST Mobile, but there is a way for you to enable the ones that you want your process server to see on the app. So let's go with individual. Then you have military and married, depending on the documents that you're serving, that may be needed or maybe they're not. So there's your options. Then you have your recipient description. Now, if the recipient description doesn't show up, that means that in the job, in the database of the company that you're working for, they don't have it enabled. That's all that it is. So if they don't have it enabled, you won't see it on the job. If they have it enabled, you will see it on the job. So potentially you can have some jobs that you can see the recipient description fields, and there may be some jobs that you don't see it. So don't freak out as to why some have it and some don't. So I can go ahead and do this. Let's see. I'm just gonna go right here. So as you can see, there's a bunch of little dots getting there. You can add another picture if you need to and whatnot. Now I'm gonna go ahead and save those changes. Once again, there is my red dot. I'm going to sync that information so the agency gets it. And if I go back into it, you will see how those yellow dots turn green. So that's just a confirmation that the data that you entered, it's now in the process serving agency's database. So now let's say that you subserved the individual instead of individually serving them. So let's go here to my job here. So let's say we subserved Brecken. So you went into this property and you served, you know, a co-resident. So in this case, once again, you may go into attempt and just type the information if that's what the company that you work for wants. But if you want to use the app properly, how it was designed to do it, you want to click where it says add survey. So that's the first step. You want to hit that add survey. And here's where you're going to add the name and the last name of the person that you served. So I can go ahead and add the name of the person that I served. If it was served at the same address, then I'm going to leave that address alone. If it was served at an alternate address, then I can go ahead and change that address right here. And then I'm going to hit save. There is my information of the person that I served. And then what you want to do in this window now is hit that little check mark up at the top. That will indicate that this is the person that you gave the documents to. So you can go ahead and do that, that check mark, and it'll say this is the name and address of the person served. You're going to hit save, and you will see how that green check mark is now on the second person. That is the person you gave the documents to in hand. If you made a mistake, you can go ahead and delete that. You can go ahead and tap on it, and you can hit the pencil and edit it if you want. So you can correct any mistakes that you made. Make sure that you correct that before you sync. If you sync the data, there is no more correction. Unfortunately, you cannot correct it. You can add another survey, maybe add a comment and tell the office, hey, I didn't actually serve this person. I served this person, whatever. And then we go back again into those service details. So we go into the day and time of service. We go into our type of service here. substitute residential, we go into everything else. And then that's pretty much how we do a subservice properly. I'm gonna go ahead and save the changes on that. There is my red button. I can sync, and then that will turn and now green. And if we go back into it, you will see how that data turns green. So now the office will be able to have that data with them. And it'll be clear that you subserved this paper. Now, if you have multiple addresses on a job, it will look something like this. You're gonna have two addresses. So if you're now attempting the second address and you need to add an attempt, you're gonna hit attempt on the address that you went to. So if you went to 1530 Fraser Avenue, you're gonna hit attempt on that. And that's where you're gonna add your information. If you served Jude Marcano at the 1530 Fraser Avenue, then you're gonna hit set service on that because you served him at that address. If you subserve this, so if you did a substitute service at that address, then you're gonna hit add service on that address. And you're going to go through the steps that I just mentioned. You're gonna change the first name, the last name, you're gonna put a relationship, and then this is the address that you did. Now, let's say you didn't serve that at the first address or the second address, but you actually got it subserved at a third address. You still gonna add that add servee, and you're gonna change that first name, that last name, you're gonna change that address, or maybe you served that person individually, but it was at a third address. So you still gotta add that service only to change the address information. So I can do you want to change that if the city's different, the state, whatever. You hit save. I'm going to hit that check mark because that's where I served the person, the area that I served it. Hit save, and now you can see how I just added a third servee with the information of the person I served and the address that it was served. And then we go back into adding the date and time, type of service, and all of that. So now this is an example of a job that doesn't have recipient description enabled. So I don't have that on my database enabled, therefore I don't see it here. And that's okay. If you don't see it, then you just don't get to fill it out. So I can see changes on that. There's my red dot. Now let's say you have a business serve, business entity, corporation, LLC, whatever it may be. You will always have to add a servee. There is not a time where you're gonna set service on the party to be served itself, unless it's a subserve. And even at that, I wouldn't even do that. The reason for that is because anytime you go to a business, you're always going to serve a person. Yes, you're serving Central Florida, neurosurgery, but you're giving the documents to an individual on behalf of that company. So you will always hit add servee. And then we're going to do the first name and the last name of the person that you serve, the relationship, and then once again, if the address is the same, then we don't touch that. If it's different, then you obviously get to change that. Hit save on that. Hit that check mark right there. Hit save. And now you have Rebecca Ford, and she is the person who accepted the documents. If you want to go into it just to see, there it is, records custodian. And then now you scroll down again and you get to put your day and time of service. You get to do your type of service. It could be authorized, substitute business, whatever it would be in this, in your situation. There we go. You get to do your recipient description if it's there. And then we're gonna go ahead and save changes on that. Now I have 2 jobs with red dots. And then if I go ahead and sync that, all that data will now sync through and it'll show green. And then if you need to add a tent on a corporate paper, same thing, you just hit add a tent. So none of that changes. And same thing with pictures, none of that changes. So that's how you would do it on a classic job. Now, shotgun jobs are a little bit different. They're not crazy different, but just a little bit. So let's go into my shotgun jobs. So here, I'm gonna go with my job here. So as you can see already, it just looks a slight different, like I showed prior. And we're gonna do same thing that we did with Classic. The first thing we're gonna do, we're gonna add an attempt. So let's go ahead and add that attempt. This window looks exactly the same as I mentioned before. Here are your pre-made text. I can go ahead and do that. You can change in the date and time of service if needed. You can clear the geolocation if needed. So none of that changes. You may go ahead and hit save. You can go ahead and add a picture. Let me take a photo. Once again, that is going to put the information that you wanted it to show up on that photo. You can do a description on that. Hit save. Once again, that's going to be at the bottom right here. There's my attempt. There is my picture. There's attachments if the company made something viewable to you. And I'm going to go ahead and save changes. And I'm going to sync my data. So that's going to go into the company's database. Now, if I serve this, so this is where it gets just a little bit different. Shotgun jobs do not have such thing as set service. So all you're really doing here is just adding service information, and that is it. The app is designed to automatically do that part on the back end, so you don't have to worry about that. But let's say we served Lisa individually. So what we're going to do is click on view. And then in here, I'm just going to go ahead and go right into date and time of service. I'm going to go ahead and select my type of service. Oops, not that one. There you go. Now, shotgun jobs does have ranges when it comes to age, height, and weight. It's just more of an advanced job. So that's why things are a little bit more enhanced. So I can do age from, let's say 40 to 45. So it'll do automatically ranges by 5 digits. So gender, let's do, is it female? Yeah, Lisa. Okay, race, there we go. So height, same thing. We can do 5'4", and so it'll do like a range automatically. If you need to change that range, you can do that. Weight, hair, glasses. Now there's a little bit more to it as well. So you can put, the color of the eyes. The eyes and other description is optional really. So it is up to you. And then you can just put whatever extra information if there was. So, and then there's comments. If you need to add any comments, you can add a photo as well, like I mentioned. And then just hit save on that. And then that's it. We don't get to set service, like I said. You can do military and marry right there on the very first level of that window. And then we can go ahead and hit save changes. And then we can sync that data. And just like the classic jobs, if you go back into it and you hit view, you will see how all that data turn green. So that's how you know, once again, that the data was synced properly and it made it to the company's database. So now let's say that we are doing a substitute serve. So we're going to go with substitute service now. So let's go into a job here. So the concept still remains the same. If you serve someone other than the party to be served, you need to add that servee. Or maybe you serve the same person, but you serve them at a different address, you need to add a servee. So we're gonna go ahead and add that servee. We serve Sarah, let's make her the wife. Same thing, if it's the same address, we'll leave it alone. Otherwise, you can go ahead and change that. We're gonna hit save on that. There is the information. And now we can just scroll down and put date and time of service. We can do our type of service. We can do our age. Here I'm just going and doing my thing. And I'm just gonna leave other blank. And then I'm just gonna save that. And now you can see how I just added Sarah. If you wanna see her information again, you just hit on view and it'll take you back into it. You'll see how those red dots are there because the data has not been synced. And then that's how you do that. Now, if you do need to capture, which I forgot to mention, if you need to capture the geolocation for shotgun jobs, you do have to hit that button up there. So if you need to capture the geolocation at the actual service information, make sure you hit that button. It doesn't do it automatically because there is not a set service. So that's just the only difference and extra step you do have to make. So if I save that, I save my changes. There is my red dot. I'm going to sync that information and it's going to go through to the database. So that's how you do a substitute service with shotgun jobs. Now, if we're going to do a corporate serve, business serve, whatever you want to call it, let's go to a job. And once again, the same rule applies. Anything that is a business, anything that is something other than, like it's not a natural person, you will always have to add a survey because you're always going to give those documents to an individual. So if we're going to go and hit add survey, we're going to put the first name and last name of the person that you served. Same thing with the address. If needs to be edited, then you can go ahead and do that. Otherwise, leave it how it is. Hit save on that. And then if you need to capture the geolocation, make sure you hit that button. So don't forget. And then if you want to clear it, yes. And then you're going to do same thing, day and time of service. And like I said, you can manipulate this however you want. And then the time is down here. Type of service. In my case, I'm gonna do corporate registered agent. Now, I want to mention this. If you go into the type of service and once again, you don't have anything, do not freak out. That's fine. Just fill out the rest of the information. The office will pick the type of service accordingly to your service information. So don't worry about that. I'm gonna do my age. Same thing. So it's very, like I said, very repetitive. Once you get the hang of this, it's pretty easy, honestly. And then you have anything else, any comments, any pictures you want to add, up to you. I'm gonna save those changes right there. You can see how I added the person that I served. I'm gonna save those changes, sync my data, and now everything is going to turn green. If the recipient description is not available in a shotgun job, this is how it looks like. So you're gonna go into view and all you're going to see is the date and time and type of service. The rest of them is just not gonna show up. And once again, that is upon how the office has the job set up on their database. They don't have it enabled, you won't see it on the app. That's all that it is. Okay, so that was pretty much adding service information attempts on shotgun and classic jobs. So we do have the ability to edit multiple jobs at once. You can add attempts to multiple jobs at once. You can add service information to multiple jobs at once. What I will say with this though, is that it can only be all classic or all shotgun. What that means is that I cannot edit multiple jobs and commingle both types of jobs. So for example, like if I go, so to select the jobs, you're gonna hit that checkbox at the very, very top. And then let me go here. And then let me do one that was a shotgun job. Let's see. There you go. So when I hit the pencil at the very bottom, so I selected those two jobs. One is a shotgun, the other one is a classic. When I hit that pencil, it won't let me do anything except for maybe add a comment and a picture, and that's it. I can't do nothing else. So my recommendation is like, don't even bother when it comes to that, because then it's gonna get all confusing. So when you edit multiple jobs and you work for companies that some may use shotgun, some may don't. So if you work for companies that they all use classic jobs, then this is not an issue. You're good to go. But if they don't, if you have a mixture, then I would say definitely use this filter. You want to do just your shotguns, just your classics. So that way, when you're editing multiple jobs at once, you don't have to worry about the compatibility. So let's do classic jobs first. So right here, we're going to go ahead and add an attempt and a photo on, two jobs at once. So let's go to my job 19. Was it 20? Yep. And I got to, oops, there you go. So they're selected there. And then my other job right there. So then once I select the jobs that I want to update, I'm going to hit that pencil at the very bottom right-hand corner. Now you can see both surveys were selected and they both show up now in one screen. So the key here is that if I'm adding an attempt, I'm just going to hit attempt on one of them. It doesn't matter which one, but you don't want to do it on both. If you do it on both, then you're now duplicating an attempt twice on both jobs. So now it's going to show up 2 times on each one, and that's not what we want to do. So if I just hit attempt on one of them, I can just do that, hit save. You're going to see that at the bottom. And that's going to automatically add to both of these jobs. I don't have to do anything else. I'm just going to hit save changes. And now you'll see how there's a red dot into both jobs. So if I go into the second one, you will see that there. And if I go into this one, you'll see it right there. So even though they're all combined, you just hit add attempt on one of the surveys. And then I'm just going to go ahead and sync that information, and both are going to turn green. So that's how you would add an attempt. If you want to add a photo, same thing. You can just go ahead and select your jobs, hit the pencil. Now I have more surveys in there because one of the jobs probably has multiple, but I can just do add photo. It's going to tell you which address you want to, if you have the address overlay on the picture. So obviously you want to take pictures for jobs that have the exact same address, okay? So I'm going to do that, take my photo on that. There's my picture now, hit save, and then that picture is going to show up on the both jobs that I selected. And at the top, it'll tell you how many jobs you're updating. So I'm only doing 2. So hit save. So there's the 2 jobs with the red dots. So there's this one. There you go. And then there's this one. There you go. And then when I sync that, now I'm updating those 2 jobs with the one picture that I took. So that's how you do that. If I am adding service information, my recommendation is to ensure that when you do that, the type of service remains the same across the board. And what I mean by that is that you may have a foreclosure paper or foreclosure case where you have 2 main defendants and you have all unknown tenants. So let's say that you served one of the main defendants, and then you subserve the second paper, and then the all unknowns gets non-served. Even though service was done upon the same person, the type of service on each job is different. The first one is individual, the second one is subservice, and the third one is a non-serve information. So it gets tricky in that sense because you cannot pick, when you're editing multiple jobs, you can't pick type of service, or different type of service on each job in the same window. So if I go into, let me show you what I mean by that. What are my jobs here? There you go. So we're gonna go back into this corporate paper, and corporate papers are probably the easiest one to use this feature with, because if you're serving the registered agent, that is the same registered agent for multiple companies, then you're pretty much doing the same thing, same day and time of service, and the type of service is gonna be the exact same on both, even though it's two different businesses. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit that pencil. And then I am going to, because it's a business, I have to add the individual that I gave the documents to. So if I do add servee, I'm gonna go ahead and put the name of the person that I served. For both businesses. And then I'm gonna go ahead and hit save. There's the person, there's the address, save. And now she is added here as a third, but she's going to be added as a servee, an additional servee under both jobs for both businesses. And then if I scroll down, I can do the day and time of service, but as you can see, I only have one field for type of service. So that's why I was saying that if it is a foreclosure case or in those situations where the type of service on each job is different, it can get a little tricky, because honestly, you would just, in reality, you would just leave this blank, and then you will have to back out, go into each individual job and select the proper type of service of each. That's really how it would work. So that, in my opinion, that is more for like advanced. I will say, let's keep it basic. And once you get the hang of understanding how the app works, then you can jump into maybe doing that as you feel comfortable doing the basic stuff of the app. So I'm gonna do my day and time of service here. My type of service, corporate registered agent. There's no military, no married. I'm gonna go ahead and do my recipient description. Gonna hit save. And then if I go into each job, just so that you can see, there she is, she's added for that. And there she is, she's added for the second job. And this also has the service details on both jobs. So that way you don't have to go into each job and select, fill it out individually. So I'm just gonna go ahead and sync that information so that way it gets to the database. So that's how you edit multiple jobs with classic jobs. If you are into a shotgun job, so let's go now into a shotgun job here. We are gonna go ahead and do the same thing. We're gonna add an attempt, we're gonna add a photo. Now, if you have a foreclosure case and you are only adding an attempt, that's okay, because the attempt is gonna be the same across the board. So it only gets tricky, as I mentioned, when you are adding service information. So right down here, I have an example of what a foreclosure case would be. So let's go ahead and add those, select those 4 jobs. So we have the 2 main defendants and unknown tenant number 1 and unknown tenant number 2. We're gonna go ahead and hit that pencil. And then I'm just gonna do the exact same thing. I'm just going to hit add attempt in one of them. Not all of them, just it doesn't matter which one, like I said. So just do it in one of them. And then you can do the same, no one home, lights are on, car in driveway, whatever, or you can type it out. That is up to you. Same thing. The geolocation is going to be automatically added to it. Hit save. There is the attempt right there. And then I can go ahead and add a photo as well. Use the photo. There we go. Now the address is the same across the board, so I didn't have to select an address for the overlay. Save changes on that. And now you can see how there's 4 red dots because I just added data that is going to be on those 4 jobs. And then when I sync, we get to have the update. There we go. So now we're going to do adding service information on multiple jobs, and I'm going to keep it with business papers. I really don't want to jump into the whole differences between types of service. So for right now, I will say if the type of service is the same across those jobs, then you're good with using edit multiple jobs and adding service information on that. So let's do here my job. What's it, 79? Let me select my job, 79 and 30. There we go. I'm going to hit my pencil. There's where it's at. And I'm going to go ahead and add my servee because I served an individual. I'm going to clear out that prefix. All I want is first name, last name. I don't want suffix either. I just always want first name, last name, and relationship. Figure this out. Reference custodian. Same thing. If the address is the same, we don't even touch that. Otherwise, you can edit it. It's safe on that. There is no set service or anything. So we're going to save that. There she is. Save changes on that. And then there's the 2 dots on the 2 jobs that I just added service information on. And actually, hold on a second. I think I missed something. Yep, I missed doing the, hold on a second, let me select them again. There you go. So I'm going to hit view on her real quickly because I forgot to put the day and time of service and all of that. So you see how I did that. I just remembered that I forgot. I just selected the 2 jobs again. And all I did was hit view on her because she is going to be on both jobs. So go ahead and do that day and time of service. We're going to do substitute business in this case. Let's do there we go. Now I'm going to hit save. There she is. Hit save. And if you go into this jobs, you will see that the info is there. And if I hit a view, there it is. Now, it's important that if you remember, like you do it automatically, like at that moment, not after you sync the data. Because once again, like I said, if you sync the data, there's no going back into it and really editing it per se. So now I can go ahead and sync all of that. And that's how I added service information on both of those business papers. So this is really good for when you have subpoenas that are going to, records custodian, you may have like 10 subpoenas going to the same place because it's all at the same hospital, or when you're serving like City Corp, or when you're serving any of those registered agents that, they're the registered agent for multiple companies, or insurance papers, or, anything like that. This is great for that. So that's how we do attempts. That's how we do service info. Now we're going to go into signing affidavits. If the company that you work for, they want you to electronically sign your affidavit, you can do that using the app. So the easiest way to do that, you're just going to go into those menu bars. You're going to go into sign affidavit, and there's going to be the list of the signed affidavits that you have. You as a process server, you don't have to worry about how to get those affidavits in there. They're just gonna be in there. If you are a clerical person, you're using PST and you don't know how to do this, call support and then we'll teach you how to do that. There's also training videos on that. So that's just another subject on that. But as a process server that you are electronically signing this affidavit, this is all you need to know. You just go in here, your affidavits are here. The company should provide you a electronic signature password. And that actually, for right now, it's like that. We are going to release a feature where you get to set your own password. So for right now, the company gives it to you probably in the next I would say probably 2 months or less. You'll be able to set up your own password yourself. And then once you enter that password once, it'll save on the app. So you don't have to keep adding it over and over again. And there is your return or proof of service. So once it's there, you just go into it, you can zoom in, making sure everything looks great. And then you can go ahead and if everything looks good, you can go ahead and hit accept. And then there you go. Then you can just go back and then do the next one on the list. Same thing, if everything looks great, go ahead and accept that. And then you'll see how your list goes less and less. And then if something doesn't look right, you have the ability to reject it and put a note as to the reason why it's not, why you're rejecting it. So you can be, address for service is wrong. Address for service is wrong. Or whatever the case may be. You can hit that and you rejected it. So now the company, it's going to get that information. They're going to, fix it and whatnot. And once they fix it and stuff, it can come back into your list. If you serve for multiple companies, then you will have the ability to choose other affidavits. It'll show up at the very top it'll show up at the very top, like you can get to select the DBS code, really. So all the affidavits are not going to be together if you serve for multiple companies. But that's how you do the sign affidavits. Then we have a routing feature. So if you want to do routing using the app, you just get to select the jobs that you want to route. Now, it doesn't matter, I'm gonna go with all because it doesn't matter whether they're shotgun, it doesn't matter whether they're, classic jobs or anything like that. So we're gonna go ahead and select the jobs that we wanna do a route. Now, you can only select up to 23 addresses. That's just unfortunately how the feature works, or, the free feature works. So that's all you can do for now. So usually you can do maybe your route that you're doing in the morning. And then if you're doing a different route in the evening, then you can just do your route in the evening. So rather than doing your whole entire day route, you can just break it up. So I'm going to go ahead and select jobs that I want to route. And then I'm going to hit that car at the bottom. And then there are my addresses. If the addresses have multiple jobs, you can see how those jobs are listed. So for example, the 13400 Village Park has 4 jobs at that address. So that's how you can see how many jobs you're, per address. I'm gonna go ahead and select all. You can select all if you're going to all those addresses, or you can just go ahead and, unselect the ones that you're not going to. That is up to you. Go ahead, hit next. And now it's going to tell you where you want to start from. So you want to start from either one of those addresses because you're already there. You want to start from home or, from whatever location that you're at. So I'm going to do from home. Hit next. And then there you go. There are my addresses. Now this is the optimized route. According to where I am, this is the best route for me to go. And then you can do directions and it'll open up on maps. So whatever map you have as the default, which I'll go on that next, is the map that will show up. You can optimize the route if you want to. So if you hit the edit pencil, you can then move those addresses up and down to which one you want to go first. So if you feel like the optimized route is not as optimized to you, then you can just do that. Hit the check mark, and then there is the alternative route. So here's your alternative route. And if I use the arrows, it'll give me the optimized route. And then you go to this address. If you need to, you're at the address, you need to like update the information, you can just tap on the job and then it'll take you right into it. And then you'll do your updates just like I show you. And then if you're done with that address, you're going to hit next and it'll take you to the next one. Next, it'll take you to the next one, next. And then that's it. Then you're done. If you get out of it, so let's say you get out of that window for whatever reason. So let's say you get out of that window for whatever reason, or you close the app, you can always go back to the menu bars, go to active route, and it'll take you back into that. And that's how you do your routing. Now, the last thing I want to go over is the settings. So if you go on the menu bars, you can see right there where it says settings. So right here, you have the ability to set your font size on the app from medium to small, normal, large. The app font could be classic or default. Animations enabled, either yes or no. So that's kind of like the flow of the app. Now the status indicators, the default is dots, but some people, we did this for people who, are colorblind, we did symbols. So if you do symbols, there will actually show up as like a check mark or a dot. So the red will be dot and then the green is the check mark. And then your maps, you can have the ability to use Google Maps, or if you're an Apple user, then it'll be the Apple Maps. On Android, I believe you have the option to do Google Maps or Waze, maybe. I can't recall. I'm not an Android user, so. And then you have your camera provider. You can do the internal plugin, which is the it's like the camera that like goes with your phone, or get the user media API. Sometimes if the camera it's giving you issues for whatever reason, using the get user media API works better. So if you have issues with the camera, make sure that you can go in here and change it. And then you have your default values for recipient description. So it's kind of like your starting point. You can start for the height of 5'6", age 40, weight 160. You can change those. So that's like your starting point. And then you can put your home address right there, and that's for the routing. And then everything else, just ignore. So it's just gonna see things up to the home address. So that's pretty much it about everything I had to talk about the app. I am now going to open the floor for questions. Any questions at all? Wow, nobody had any questions? Really? Okay, I guess I'm that good.
You are. Be proud of yourself.
Um, did this training, did you guys learn something new? Like, did things make sense? I know a lot of you use the mobile app.
Yes, I
Yeah,
learned.
I actually learned something deadly. I learned a few things.
Okay, great.
Yes, this was good.
Yeah, okay, good.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
this was way overdue. I feel like a lot of process servers are like, they feel like the app's a little complicated or they're using it wrong, not as it was intended to be designed. And I will say this too, if you are someone who your process server uses the app, have them try to use it this way. I promise you it will make your clerical work easier. They're literally filling out the data the way you need it. So when it comes to closing out those jobs, you have a lot of it already filled out. You don't need to do this. So it definitely, that's why it was designed for. It is designed for the process server to type in that data, and then for you then in the office to see that data in the app. Just make sure that everything is spelled correctly and you're good to go. So that would be probably my advice on for both ends.
Yes, very helpful. Thank you.
Alrighty, well, if nobody has any questions, any extra things that you guys would like to talk about, then I'm just gonna end this. Thank you so much for being here and dedicating this time to this class.
Thank you.
You.
All right, you guys have a good one.
Thank you,
Thank
Desi.
you. Thank you. Thank you. It was very educational. Thank you so much.
Oh, I'm so glad. I'm glad.